There's a very famous thing, which is the self-made millionaires. Everybody talks about, I'm a self-made millionaire, I'm a self-made millionaire. I think people ought to be looking at how to be system-made millionaires. In other words, system-made millionaires. Yes.
System-made millionaire.
Yeah. Because
I love that.
when you are a system-made millionaire, systems basically rescue you from your lack of experience, right? Because it's systematized. If you look at major brands, major companies, they can bring somebody in, and even if they don't have experience in that space, it's the system that saves them. So when I heard that, it was clear to me I needed to find who had the results and who was following a system that I could follow. Because I wasn't really born with any special talent, but I knew I had the ability to learn skills, you know? And I want to add a couple things because, it has to do with the questions you were asking right now. What should a young guy kind of be looking at? When I first came to this state, I was modeling a cousin of mine who was a pediatrician. He's a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor, right? But I had to come back because I actually went to high school in Mexico. And I came back, I wanted to go back to school, but I also wanted to continue to be independent because I had been out of my house since I was 14 years old. So being back at home, like you have to be here at 8 p.m., still be treated like a teenager, I kind of wanted the independence. That's when I moved to Chicago. But to make a long story short, is that the modeling, like quickly I realized that paying for college was just a little challenging. So I had to get a job. And inside of this job, a lady from Colombia, her name is Paola, who I would forever be grateful to. She says, you should be maybe looking into earning money based on value add instead of just trading your time for money. At my home, everybody was trading their time for money, looking for this job and see which one would pay them the highest hourly rate, right? I've never heard the concept of making money for value add. And she invited me to a meeting, which I was obviously skeptical. And it had to do with educating parents on how to prepare to fund their kids' college education in the Hispanic community. I learned a little presentation, and that space changed my life forever. Within a few months, I was earning more money than all my 6 siblings combined. It was a very generous industry, and it is also an industry that allows you to really provide a lot of value to the space. So that's why I believe so much in the financial industry. It's a $100 trillion industry. You could add retail and real estate combined do not match up how big the financial space is.
Wow. So when you're talking about getting into the financial system and doing that to add value and then make money based on that value add, what does that look like in like the step 1, step 2, step 3? Like what is the actual...
Yeah, probably the easiest way of entry is going through the insurance space, to the insurance route. It's very easy to get your insurance license. Now, most people, when they hear insurance, they maybe, I assume, think about it's something that you sell, that people buy to protect their children, or the breadwinner in case of them passing away and not leaving the family without a backup or financial stability. But it's actually much bigger than that. The insurance space is, the insurance companies happen to be some of the biggest money managers in terms of retirement. People that are looking to not outlive their money. They trust their assets or their money into insurance companies. Really wealthy individuals who are trying to protect their money and income from taxation, they use insurance companies. So there's a lot of strategies and laws, we wouldn't have enough time to go into it, that allow for anybody who becomes a professional in that space to deliver such massive value that they can then get so handsomely compensated in return. But to be more direct in answering your question, is the easiest entry is getting your insurance license. I think it's a couple $100. And for most people who have...
So for a couple $100, I can start selling insurance to other people and start that whole business.
Yeah, you can get your course to study between 30 and $100, and then maybe pay $100, $200 to get your state license.
That's the insane
entry.
There's no regulation, or I guess it's pretty simple.
Yeah, if you have high school, you're pretty much are able to get into that.
Wow.
So you don't get into that space. Here's a funny story. I was going to school while I was already licensed selling. And I spoke to my counselor, who told me, if you continue in this university, you get your bachelor's degree, you're going to make X amount of money. And then if you get your master's, you're going to make so much money. And if you get your doctorate, you're going to get so much money. And I think that was the one thing that made me to pause the education, because I was already making more money than whatever they describe being having a doctor or PhD was making. So I'm like, wait a minute.
That's crazy.
My passion gravitated towards this other side. I wanted to be a doctor, but I gravitated in this space because I was being a financial doctor, and I developed a true passion for that.
So now for guys that are young, and just to be honest, like the moment you tell me, oh, you could start selling insurance, I go to like, no way. Like, I don't want to be that guy selling insurance. Like I immediately go to this stereotype of insurance peddlers and like people trying to force you to like. So help me understand a little bit, and I guess for the guys watching the podcast, how can we actually look at the numbers and the actual amount of money that you're going to be making by actually bringing good value? You're not just like, I would assume you're not just selling some empty promise.